Well, hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. So I'm going to share some trick photography with you, and I'm going to help you make this image. So join me and let's see where this journey takes us. Alright, so what we need effectively is some tangerines. So I've got my handy bag of tangerines here, and I'll take a tangerine. I'm just looking to see if there are any that are better than others. That's a bigger one. This one here seems to be the best. So I'll put them aside. Right, so effectively what we're trying to do is cut out that shape of the tangerine and then convert it into the image that we've got. So what I'll do is I'll show you how I draw that shape on the tangerine, and it'll give you an idea of how we start to carve this out. Alright, so we need a sharp knife. So please, a wee disclaimer, be really careful if you're using a sharp knife. I've got this little hobby knife that I'm using, and all I want to do is just draw around the image that I'm going to draw and then peel off the excess. But please be really careful if you're using a knife. If you're under 18 and you're watching this, you need to ask your parents' permission before you use a knife to try this trick. So what I'll do is I'll start, and first of all I'll draw the head. Now the head, what you want is the crown of the tangerine as the base of that circle, just because it's got strength. So you want to leave a bit for a neck. So if I draw the head round the tangerine, and what you'll see is I've got a neck here, and then if I then turn the tangerine round and I draw my first set of hands, and then take my arm back, and then on the other side draw my next set of hands. So I'm doing this quite quickly just so that you can see what I'm doing. And then what you want to do is draw your legs probably to this level of the tangerine, because you want to give your little tangerine man some long legs, and that'll be all apparent in a little while. So you just draw the lines down. So effectively you've got your head, you've drew your two arms, and then you've drew your legs at the back. So now what we want to do is we want to cut the shape out. So the best way to do this is just do it lightly, and then follow the line that you've drawn and just lightly cut it out, because if you go too deep you'll actually cut in to the tangerine and you're probably going to miss the effect that you're looking for, or you'll just have to eat that tangerine and use another one. So I'm carefully tracing round the lines here, and I'll keep going. Now again, I'm not digging the knife in too deep, but I am being quite firm as I go round. And the reason that we want to give your tangerine man some extra length on the legs is because, I'll show you in a little while, we're going to have to fold the bottom of the legs to give him a pair of shoes, just so that he can stand up. So I'm just finishing off carving round this little tangerine figure, and I think we're there. Right, so if I put the knife down, if I just use the knife to prise up a bit of skin. So here's the key thing. You want to peel the skin away from the outside of the image that you've drawn. So just keep peeling away, and as you'll see, it'll start to come away quite easy. Now keep the peel, because the peel will be really helpful, because it might add a wee bit of interest to the photograph that we take. So I'm just peeling away all the excess that we don't need. There you have the rush shape of a tangerine man. So now what you do is you peel up the head, not too far, and then that way Your head's going to be floppy, but we'll sort that in a minute. And then what you then do is you peel back the two legs, like so. You leave the hands as they are, and then that way, if you turn it round, if you use your fingers, you'll be able to stretch the skin back. That allows you to see the formation of a tangerine man. But now we're going to have to figure out how do we hold the head up and how do we sort his legs so he can stand. So let's do that. Okay, so I've got some pick sticks. So what we're going to do is just cut the pick sticks short, because what we want is a pick stick that's going to hold the head up, and as you'll see, that pick stick's holding the head up. Now what we want to do is fold the bottom of the feet on the inside. So what we'll do there is we'll put a pick stick through the base of the skin to join the two up so it looks as though it's folded, and then we'll slide a pick stick inside the tangerine, and then I'll cut another one because this will all become apparent in a second, and I'll do the same thing again. I'll fold the skin at the bottom of the feet, I'll push the pick stick in to the tangerine. Right, so we've now got our legs with our feet. Now he's going to fall forward. So I dropped that pick stick there. So we need this pick stick now to go at the base of the tangerine, and that's what we use for the tangerine man to be stable and stand. So this can be quite tricky because you'll need to find an area within the tangerine that's not too soft and the pick stick goes right inside. So that's the basis of how we prepare the tangerine man. Now what we'll do is we'll set up a composition and we'll take a photograph, and then once we've taken that photograph, I'll switch over to Photoshop and I'll show you how we clean it up, how we get rid of the pick sticks, how you can't see it. So what I'll do is I'll set up a little composition and I'll catch back with you soon. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken 3 separate shots, because I've tried a shot this side, and I've turned to the left. My focal point is the tangerine man, and what I've done is I've got an f5.6 because I want a kind of shallow depth of field, because the focal point is going to be on him. I've been a little bit higher, I've dropped a little bit lower. So we'll pick the best image when we get back to Photoshop. And right, I think I've finished, and I'll meet you in Photoshop. So the first thing I'm going to do is just clean up some of the edges here. So if I take the magic wand, just select, sorry, the quick heal. So if I use the quick heal brush and I just take away that corner, that will flatten it out. We've got a distraction at the back with the reflection of a cut. So that's been taken out. Right, so what we also want to do as part of the cleanup process is just zoom in a little bit. If I reduce the size of the brush, and then if I just go over some of the ink lines, that'll tidy up the image, and then what we can start to do is get rid of the ink that we didn't cut past when we were cutting out the shape on the tangerine. So I'm doing this really quickly just so that you can get a feel for what I'm doing. There's a little straggly bit of skin, so take that out. There's another bit of straggly skin, so take that out. Finish that off. There's another bit there. Right, so I've got a wee bit of ink here, and I'm just looking for any kind of imperfections just so that it gives us a cleaner image. Now down the edge of the leg here, so there's a couple of spots and lines, we can take them out. There's one there. Come on the inside of the leg. Right, so we're nearly there. So we've nearly cleaned up all the ink lines and any kind of imperfections in the skin. So I'll just add that. Right, so there's a bit of line there, so I'll remove that. Just a little tweak. Right, so now what we've got to do is we can see the pick sticks coming through. So again, just using the quick healing brush, If I just go over the pick stick, that'll get rid of it. Again, at the base of the foot, that gets rid of it and it'll remove it. So if I just increase the size of my brush and just draw over the pick stick here, it actually does quite a good job. So if I just try and clean up the bottom of the tangerine there you go, there's one little remnant. So again, if I go in a wee bit closer, drag down, and let's see what we've got. Right, so if I go a little bit wider now. Right, so we've now cleaned up the tangerine, we've removed the pick sticks, so it now looks as though the tangerine is standing on its own. And again, it's really up to you how you want to edit your photo. So if I just look at the mid-tones, just darken them down a wee bit just for that background, pull up my whites and brighten the image. Again, just change those tones to be a little bit darker. Then what I might want to do is a vignette. So if I just Control E, then that collapses that layer down into my bottom layer. Now there's a couple of ways of doing a vignette. I can go back into Camera Raw. So if I load Camera Raw, and if I go down to Effects, I've already got Vignetting as a selection. I can pull that there. So I'll take it to 23 and do OK. Then that'll take it back. So that might look as though it's a little bit darker now in the middle of the frame. So what I can do is duplicate my layer, select my top layer, go back to my brightening option, just increase the brightness just a tad. Then what I can then do is apply a mask and then take my black brush here and then pull back in some of the vignetting. So if I go back up and slide to 100% opacity, I can then start to darken those areas while I've got a middle center, and then I can just darken down the edges just so that the focal point for you is going straight to the tangerine man in that composition. So if I disable the layer, you can see the difference in the brightness. Very subtle, but enough. So to collapse that down, I do Command or Alt E, and then I don't need the background layer anymore, and that is my final image. So all I need to do now is File, Save As, and call it, because I've made changes, I'll need to export it. So File, Export, Export as a JPEG, and I'll call that complete. And there we have our final image. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that. It was a wee bit of fun, and yeah, you get some really nice effects, but you have to have a lot of patience, and a lot of it is trial and error. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because you know it's free, and if you press the bell notification, that will let you know the next time I post a video. So thanks very much for watching, and here's to the next video.